Hello, everybody. My name is Hanah.
And I'm Doug.
And this is week 3 of Elective of Body Movin.
in Lindy Hop. There's no
G. Get crunk.
So body moving and improvisation in solo jazz. So we had some ideas today that started with turning.
Basic turning technique. We also we talked about basic turning technique, and we also talked about how to practice this. And so we started with quarter turns, right? You just turn to a quarter, then half turns, and then talking about full turns. And then if you can do a double turn, which I really can't, Doug can. Yeah, there we go. That's really pretty. So, I mean, we talked about where does the turn come from? Does it come from our shoulders, our hips, our arms, our feet? Kind of comes from everywhere. And then also to really kind of maintain a solid turn, you want to think about your leg as the axis and your core as holding you there. Cool? That was
you can also, those are forward turns we were just demonstrating. You can take all of those concepts and use them on backwards turns. So then we contextualized it with a little introduction into hallelujahs that was just a backwards half turn into hallelujahs. We talked about how that can come anytime your body is moving backwards. So at like the backswing of Charleston, hoo-ha.
And just about where to use spot turns in general, which is wherever you want. It's solo jazz. The second kind of turning concept that we talked about was lock turns. And so what's important here is, first of all, getting the lock. And so a lot of people, what was revolutionary for me was having, instead of locking in front, locking to the side and having a really sharp, nice lock right here, and then turning 3/4 of the way.
Yeah, we're twisting up and then releasing. And we demonstrated if you're really working on that spot turn technique, you can use this to start a spot turn.
We even had someone in their choreo do a spot turn into a lock turn, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then the way that we also demonstrated a cool move that's pretty common is a Charleston with a lock turn. And I'll just do the counts for that. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a pretty popular one.
Then we, so if turning in place is one way to turn in dance, the other way is to turn down a line. So I'm picking this line of the tile and just turning down it. We talked about how we don't really use like full chaîné ballet turns. We tend to keep our arms a little bit lower, a little more relaxed, keep the pulse in our bodies from Lindy Hop while we're doing these turns.
And also keeping your eye on a spot on the wall. There's 2 different ways to spot, which we didn't go into too much, but the point is that you don't want to be looking down to the floor to make sure that you're going in a straight line, because a lot of the times you won't have tiles here. You want to be looking at someone or something and kind of like keep that in mind of like, that's where I'm heading. Cool. And then we sort of combined all of these concepts in a move called trickeration. And it looks like... It's a 4-count move, and you can either do it in place like Doug is doing, or you can travel it, which is pretty cool. And the way that it's made of, if you know suicide kicks, right? It's kind of this forward... Well, how did you explain it? You explained it really well.
Cross, replace, kick, replace, cross.
So it's kind of that same... It's the same cross idea in front. And so you cross, tap, kick out of that, replace.
Yeah. And we talked about how this feeling of release is very similar to when you're twisted up in the lock turn, that feeling of release. So we cross, tap, we're in this sort of twisted up position, we release into that kick.
And that's pretty much our lesson for you. It's been such a pleasure to teach all of you. We had some great improvised choreos today, and that was really awesome. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year.